How do you conquer a world that was designed to keep you out? For composer Kaija Saariaho, the answer wasn't to fight the system, it was to out-imagine it. By following the frequency of her own inner voice, she didn't just break the rules, she rendered them obsolete. Today we're decoding the quiet rebellion of a legend who proved you don't have to be noisy to be a radical. You just have to be unapologetically authentic. Greetings, my fellow divas, and welcome to today's episode of the Diva Decode. I'm your host, Nicole Dalé. We're here to lift the velvet curtain on the most iconic women in music from yesterday and today. We don't just dive into the glamour and the talent. We study how these legends broke the rules to pave their own way. Most importantly, we're going to explore how to take those legendary lessons and apply them to our modern world. And be sure to stay tuned for this week's Diva Decode challenge at the end of the video. Join me as we bring the diva spirit to our daily lives. If you've ever thought that classical music was all powdered wigs and old traditions, composer Kaija Saariaho is here to prove you wrong. Born in Helsinki in 1952, she grew up in a Finland that didn't exactly roll out the red carpet for women composers. In fact, when she studied composition at the Sibelius Academy, she was one of the only women in the field. Imagine walking into a classroom where almost no one looks like you and still deciding that you belong there. Early in her career, Kaija felt constrained by rigid musical traditions. So what did she do? She left. She moved to Paris, immersed herself in new technologies, and began experimenting with electronic music at IRCAM, one of the world's leading research centers for sound. Instead of asking permission to innovate, she built a new musical language altogether, blending orchestra, electronics, voice, and visual imagination into soundscapes that feel otherworldly. If you'd like to hear the sound world she created, check out the playlist link in the description. Her breakthrough opera, L'amour de Loin, premiered in 2000 and later made history at the Metropolitan Opera in 2016 as the first opera by a woman composer performed at the Met in more than a century. Kaija was one of the most celebrated composers of our time, earning major awards, global recognition, and the kind of respect that says she didn't just enter the room, she redesigned it. So what can modern women take from Kaija Saariaho's life? I've got 3 powerful takeaways for you. Lesson 1. Harmony between head and sky. Kaija often spoke about the struggle of being a mother and a high-level creator. She famously said, "It is difficult to have your feet on the ground and your head in the sky at the same time, managing the administrative earthly tasks of a household while maintaining the creative heavenly headspace needed for her art." Instead of choosing one or the other, she integrated them. She believed that having a family actually kept her relationship with her work healthy, teaching her about generosity and perspective. You don't have to segment your life to be successful. Your grounding experiences give your professional dreams their richness and depth. Lesson 2. Quiet rebellion through authenticity. When Kaija was a student, the composition world, especially in Europe, was dominated by a very rigid mathematical style of music. She later said she felt emotionally suffocated by it. Instead of conforming, she began exploring color, texture, and atmosphere in sound, almost like painting with music. She described how Finnish landscapes shaped her musical imagination. That's why so much of her music feels like shimmering light, fog, or distant horizons. She wasn't just composing notes. She was recreating sensations. That quiet rebellion became her signature style. She didn't loudly reject the rules. She simply created something beautiful. Kaija teaches us that authenticity can be a form of rebellion. You don't need permission. You don't need to become louder or more like everyone else. You can simply become more yourself. And in doing so, create work, ideas, or a life that didn't exist before. Lesson 3. Trust your inner frequency. As a small child in Helsinki, Kaija struggled to sleep because she heard music constantly. It wasn't just catchy tunes, it was a wall of sound that she thought was coming from the physical objects around her. She famously asked her mother to turn off the pillow, or the sounds coming from the walls. Her mother realized Kaija wasn't hallucinating, she was experiencing the world with such heightened acoustical sensitivity that her brain translated silence into complex textures. This inner radio eventually became the source of her greatest compositions. Kaija encourages us to take your inner radio, that constant stream of ideas, anxieties, or observations, and find a medium for it. Whether it's a business model, a piece of art, or a new way of leading a team, your job is to translate your internal world into an external reality. Kaija Saariaho passed away in 2023, but her music continues to bridge the gap between science and soul. She showed us that you can be precise and poetic, a mother and a maestro, a quiet presence and a revolutionary. So here's your Diva Decode challenge for the week. Identify one daily task that usually drains your creative energy and see if you can shift your perspective to make it a grounding task that gives you stability to propel your creative vision. I'm Nicole Dalé, and this has been the Diva Decode. If you loved hearing about Kaija Saariaho's illustrious career, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you're always in the loop for our next deep dive. Feeling the love? You can keep the show caffeinated via the Buy Me a Coffee link. Or better yet, join our inner circle. You'll get exclusive perks and the power to vote on which legendary divas we decode next. Until then, to explore Kaija's beautiful soundscapes, check out the playlist link below. And keep a little glamour in your life.